We have an update as far as the process to transfer an individual 401k that was transitioned from Vanguard to Ascensus based on the latest client feedback and experience as far as the transfer process. So we want to go through the update on that front. First off, the presentation is being provided for educational purposes only. It should not be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice, nor is it solicitation. When making an investment decision, please consult with your tax attorney and financial professional. So we'll just go through some quick context to put it, as far as the context here, to put it in context, as far as transitioning an account from Ascensus to a new provider. So we do host these webinars every day in our community, mysolo401k.net/my community. It's always free to join. All are welcome. If you look back at the history, earlier in 2024, Vanguard announced that they were exiting the solo 401k business and selling to Ascensus. Options for Vanguard individual accounts, individual 401k accounts that were transitioned to Ascensus, of course, would be to leave the account at Ascensus or to transfer to a new provider like My Solo 401k Financial. And so that presents an opportunity to contrast the features, etc., of the Ascensus individual K versus a solo 401k provided by My Solo 401k Financial. So to highlight some of the top considerations, number one, let's talk about Mega Backdoor Roth. So Ascensus's individual K does not support the Mega Backdoor Roth, whereas our plan, of course, does. Investment options with Vanguard, I should say with Ascensus, you're limited to certain Vanguard mutual funds. There's a list of about 40 or so of those funds, whereas with our solo 401k plan, it's an open architecture. So that means that you can not only invest in traditional brokerage type investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, but also alternative investments like real estate, private placements, notes, crypto, etc. Ascensus's individual K does not support solo 401k loans, whereas our plan does. We even prepared the required loan documents as an optional free service. In terms of fees, Ascensus is going to charge $20 per participant, as well as $20 per mutual fund that the individual is investing in, whereas our fee is a totally flat fee. We charge an annual fee of $125. Our plan also makes, unlike the Ascensus individual K plan, our plan does make the self-employed business that sponsors the plan eligible for $1,500 in solo 401k tax credits, which would more than cover the cost to set up and maintain the plan for the first 7 years. So the net cost over the first 7 years is going to be $0 with our plan. Again, alternative investments, our plan allows for that. Ascensus's individual K doesn't. The compliance support, for example, the Form 5500EZ, once the value of the plan exceeds $250,000, 1099-R, which would need to be done, for example, if you're making Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, the export compliance support, all of that's included for no additional charge. Again, the $1,500 solo 401k tax credit. You could have the account at the bank or brokerage of your choice. We have helped our clients open up accounts at hundreds of different banks, many different brokerages, cryptocurrency and alternative investment platforms as well. So now I want to go to the updated procedure page. So if you go to our website, we have our hub for customers who had individual Ks at Vanguard, and now we've updated it with the new procedures to transfer from Ascensus. So if you just click on the top link there at the top of the page, and then from there, just click on right at the top, there's a link to the procedure page to transfer from Ascensus to a provider like us. And so let's get that a little bit bigger. So you can see that we've just updated this procedure today. And so there's a lot of good reasons to transfer over. We've kind of talked about a number of those already. We've got those listed here. We've got some good FAQs that have come up, so feel free to take a look at those. But in short, we've got a list also of alternatives just based on research. Of course, it's just for educational purposes only. We're not giving anyone investment advice or legal advice, but for informational, educational purposes, just to give a sense, because of course, other brokerage firms do offer mutual funds that they market as being very comparable to the funds that you would be limited to investing in if you kept your solo 401k at Ascensus. So they've got that chart as well there. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see that we've got our updated procedure page to transfer an individual K from Ascensus over to our plan. So to put it in context, Ascensus keeps evolving the process. So if a while back when we posted this procedure page, they were directing our customers to use this in-service distribution form, which you could access on the Ascensus website. But it was very hit or miss. They were rejecting that form. They then updated or started directing folks to use a different form, what they were calling the payout request form. But again, the process wasn't smooth and streamlined. Clients were still experiencing rejection. And so now the latest update is that they're directing folks to go to an online process. And in simple terms, it seems that they want to take a square peg and put it into a round hole, in the sense that even though when someone switches their plan away from Ascensus, say to my solo 401k, they're not technically terminating the Ascensus solo 401k plan or individual K plan. They're restating the plan. So they're updating or upgrading the plan to our plan. So it's not a termination. So that's really what's happening when you're upgrading your plan from Ascensus over to our plan. But they want to fit that process into their termination process. That's why I say it's kind of like a square peg in a round hole. And so it seems that Ascensus just hasn't built the process to accommodate this restatement. Whether that's a feature or a bug, we'll leave it to others to judge. But in short, this seems to be where they're really wanting everyone to go, because they're rejecting those paper forms that they were first directing people to use. So that's the context that we're working in. So at a high level, it's going to be a two-step process. First, log into what they call the plan sponsor site, which are the employer site, and terminate the plan. And then go into the participant site, the employee site, and complete or submit the transfer instructions, where you're going to tell Ascensus, okay, this is who you need to make the check payable to. So we've got all the specific details here. There's a special note, for example, we'll just flag that if your account is over at Fidelity. We also explain why, because some folks say, well, I'm not terminating, right? I'm not terminating my employment. I'm not terminating my plan. And at the end of the day, it does seem illogical, but it ultimately is acceptable from a solo 401k perspective, because the plan is really just being terminated in Ascensus's records. They don't control the official records of the plan. You do, right? As the plan trustee, as the solo 401k owner, Ascensus is not going to report that you've terminated your employment, for example. It seems that they may report the transfer, but they're saying that they're going to report it as a non-taxable direct rollover, which ultimately would be acceptable from a solo 401k perspective. So you could certainly follow the process that they've laid out to go through this online process. As far as the processing time, they're saying that it'll take 2 to 3 business days to process the online submission. And then that'll trigger them they'll liquidate the investments, they'll cut a check per how they're directed to when the transfer instructions are submitted through the employee site. They'll cut a check and mail it to your address that's in their records, which could take 7 to 10 business days to arrive. Alternatively, the check could be mailed out via UPS if you want it to arrive faster, say 2 to 3 business days, and they're saying that's a $30 fee. Once you receive the check, you're going to want to write the account number on the check. So the account number that you would put in the transfer instructions, right, on Ascensus's employee site would be the EIN number for the plan, which is a very good proxy for the account number, because the new accounts that would be set up for the restated plan are going to be opened up under the name and the EIN number of the plan, which we obtain that EIN number as part of the onboarding process. So because you might not know that account number at the time that you're submitting these transfer instructions, we want to put things on a parallel path to shorten the overall processing time. You can go ahead and just enter that EIN number of the plan when completing the Ascensus transfer instructions. So that EIN number in all likelihood is going to be printed on the check. And so by the time you receive the check and when you're ready to deposit the check into the new accounts for the restated plan, say at Fidelity or Schwab, et cetera, by then, of course, you'll know that account number. So just to make it easy for whoever's receiving the check, whether it's Fidelity or Schwab or et cetera, just go ahead and write the Fidelity or Schwab account number on the check, endorse it for deposit only, provide it to Fidelity or Schwab or wherever the new accounts are, so they can deposit it into the new account for the restated plan. So that's the updated procedure for those that are going to be transitioning their individual K at Ascensus over to our plan. So we wanted to get that out there and just get the update out there as soon as possible to share all this information. So thank you so much.